Greetings and welcome once again to TFT, Tarot for Today, Divine Dabblings with Oberon and Banshee, and this is Goth Tarot, my weekly look into the shadow issues of our lives. And lately, since the beginning of the month, we've been working on the concept of evading happiness. And it's a shadow concept about what we do to sort of keep ourselves from becoming happy or avoiding situations that could make us become happy. So I'm going to get to that in a minute, but we're going to start off as usual with a reading or meditation from this time it'll be from the Oracle of the Hecatean Path. Amitor, mother of all, nurturing. Wait, let me find that description there. Amitor, mother of all, nurturing. Hecate guides us into this world, and she will one day guide us out of it. Now is the perfect time for respite, healing, and preparation for the next leg of the journey. Remove all pressures and complexities and return to a simpler way of living. However, if we act childlessly or expect Hecate to fix all our problems without being prepared to do the necessary work ourselves, we can expect to encounter her maternal disappointment and chastisement. So it's a little bit of a strong statement there. It's kind of like saying she welcomes you to this path of discovery, but some of this work you have to do yourself. Her nurturing will only take you so far. So I think that's kind of a good way to start the tone here, set the tone here. So once again, on evading happiness, I'm just going to briefly read from one of the sections we worked in. The general description: I create my own peace of mind. I am the energy of sorrow, representing pain and distress. When I am with you, contentment looks like an impossible quest, and to attain it, I make you believe you need to be perfect in heart and soul. My energy is hurtful and creates pessimism, impatience, and fatalism. I may have been with you for a very long time, since you were a child or as a result of a painful life experience, and I cause you to think that happiness lies outside of you. However, happiness is an inner construction that flows from you. So I think that's something to keep in mind, of course. A lot of times we do erect barriers to keep ourselves from certain experiences, and much of that is about maybe trying to hide or cover up what I call the sacred wound, that thing that, like it says, happened to us in the past, and perhaps we can't ever quite heal from that. So I think the process of working through our shadow issues is getting at least some sense of a tool that that helps us better with it. To understand it as that dysfunction or a codependency is a big first step. So let's mark what our progress has been in trying to work through evading happiness. We'll use my Shadow Work Tarot by Erethereal. Pull a card to determine if it says there's progress there. So consider this an update to our work, maybe an indication that either there is or is not things that still may need to be improved or worked upon. This card would show to some degree what the actual progress is, or if not, what possibly is causing the lack. The Erethereal Shadow Work Tarot says it's the Queen of Wands. So I think the Queen of Wands says we might be putting a little bit of a more superficial face on some of this, and so that we might be creating a little bit of a posture. And maybe that's a sense of because we are earnestly trying to confront this head on. There's a sense of bravery too with the Queen of Wands, but also maybe staking their claim. And in a way that's good, but it almost sounds like it's overreaching if we consider what the meat of evading happiness was, the idea that we're not allowing ourselves to noble up or to brave up. So I'm not trusting that a whole lot. I'm suggesting that maybe that's what we feel inside, that we're going to try to be more brave and confront this. But what about what's really going on in our inside, our emotional updating or progress with this? How do we feel maybe emotionally? I'm going to use another tarot by Erethereal, the Opaline Tides, which is a bluer, darker, moodier shade. And I use that to represent the sense of the emotional tides that either come in or go out. And so the analogy or the illusion I'm making is emotionally, what do we really feel here? Is there something going on there that brings out a certain sense of emotion? And is it an emotion that we're really not honest about? We're maybe still hiding that in a way. It's the Hierophant reversed. So deep inside, we're rebelling. Deep inside, we may not be totally able to try to correct evading happiness, especially where it's coming to the idea of maybe overcompensating. I mean, that's what the Queen of Wands is too, is that maybe we feel we have to overcompensate to show that we are finding our way to happiness rather than evading it. But maybe deep on the inside, we feel that some of this is still contrary to our own nature, hidden wise, in that we are either reacting against that rebelling against that. Or maybe we are choosing to say that we still want to hide those things, that we want to not be that socially acceptable, orderly kind of side that the Hierophant would normally represent. It is something to think about. All right, so that's the update part of our reading. And I'm now going to look at the following points that may relate to this shadow of evading happiness. I think some of it's intended as that, but there may be a twist or two in there. So first we're going to look at what I call the dark avatar. The idea of the avatar is the construction, the archetype of ourselves that maybe we are trying to impress or project to who we meet or to how we deal in the world. And so this idea of an avatar is sort of, it's not that it takes the blame, but it's just sort of something else that we can refer to, and that it's a higher part of ourselves. It's not necessarily the part of ourselves that's codependent, working on our evading happiness issues. So the dark avatar is really how we try to tell people, no, we're not about that, we're about this. What is that? I used the Lost Soul Tarot deck to represent an idea of what that personality or construct we're sort of hiding under, or sort of umbrellaing under. It's not that it's not us, it's not that it's phony, but because those are concepts within us that we are able to project. But we're still using it to mask what evading happiness or other shadow codependent issues are doing to us. So I take the Lost Soul Tarot and I isolate all of the court cards and the major arcana. That's 38 cards. And of course, if they are reversed, that's another possibility of what that aspect is. So here it is. It's the dark avatar. What is the construction you use to represent yourself and possibly defer things about your shadow natures? It's the High Priestess reversed. The avatar that we project is one that is more about common sense and not about the intuitive process, is more about somebody who doesn't go with other forms of information, but maybe solves them in a gut way. It's not instinct. It just may be where other aspects of the avatar or the shadow parts of it take them to. So in that regard, this dark avatar is not really able to help you. It's more like just sort of just a cover. It's a dodge in a way. I thought I should get something a little bit stronger there, but I wasn't. So I wasn't really sure why that is, or if it isn't that important. It could be that being not very intuitive as your avatar allows you, to just say it was a mistake, it was something you didn't intend to do and you didn't realize that. And you can kind of fluff it off in a way, especially if it's about the things that you're using to evade happiness. But if there's a dark avatar, oftentimes he may have his own mission, a dark mission, and the mission could be what he's really doing underneath it all, that besides being this aspect that is projected, there may be a purpose, something that they want to do there with that, with the projecting of that aspect. They're trying to change beliefs or cause an influence. I use the Dark Grimoire, which is a Lovecraftian themed tarot. And if it's written in the book, then it's the mission, is how I look at it. So thematically was why I picked this deck to use. What is the dark mission of the avatar, the dark avatar? Perhaps it's the upright Queen of Chalices, the Queen of Cups. The dark mission would be to try to present the contrast of the other things going on, the High Priestess, the Queen of Wands, your possible working better, by saying it's all about the control of the emotions, and that what you're trying to do is basically make sure that nothing around you overreacts. It's yourself, but it's also maybe what's going on with opinions around you. So your mission is to make sure that you can possibly tamp down on contrary emotions, especially if they are supposed to bring you towards happiness. By not being able to sense certain things is one way of avoiding a happiness quotient. But to ensure that, you make sure others are able to sense that or to pull that out there and expose that. Makes sense to me, I think. So, what's the dark trick? What are the outright methods of trickery or deceit we may employ in order to continue these distractions or to affect these personas, to hide the mission? I use the Joker Tarot for that dark trick. Let's move that there. Give me a little room. In using this deceit or trickery, it's kind of like maybe it's one of the techniques of that queen there, the Queen of Chalices, is that this may be more specific to the idea of what we're actually doing to distract or to trick or to deceive somebody. And that's the reversed Ace of Pentacles. And I think the reversed Ace of Pentacles merely says we're starting up things that we don't really intend to finish. We're creating something that looks like it's a livelihood or looks like it has a material being in there. It's a way of commerce, or it's a way of something physical happening. But we don't really intend it to be real, and we may be using this as a way to once again be a side projection, like the avatar is, like its mission is. So this is our methodology, perhaps, is that we show how we're starting something, but we're really not doing that. It's a trick. It's a delaying tactic. It's not probably a big deal. So at the end of the day, then, what do we really want to, I'll say, hold up as the dark mirror that reflects ourselves back to others? This is what people really see despite it all. Whatever we're trying to show them or say, this is reality, it may be they're picking up a different reflection altogether. It's the one that their own intuition or sense of the situation is bringing out. So I'm using the Deviant Moon for that one. What is the reflection that others see of us? It's the reversed Four of Swords. The reversed Four of Swords. The reflection of us that they see is that we are quite effective at doing what we want, that rather than needing time for ourselves or needing time to hide away, or that we feel like maybe we want people to see us as victims, people are not going to see that. That reflection shows maybe we're ready to take on things. And so how that affects those relationships with others, people maybe are not really seeing these other things that we project outward. They're just seeing us as somebody that is trying to get back to where they were. Is that really what we're trying to tell people, though? When I look at the backside of the reflection, what we see ourselves doing in all of this, are we trying to come back, or are we just trying to do something else? I'm going to use the by any means necessary as the final card in the reading. And the message of this is what we see ourselves doing. Whether it's what we're actually accomplishing is another thing, but it's what we think we see ourselves accomplishing. It's the dark mirror that reflects back at us. And it's another Cups card. It's the Seven of Cups, but it's reversed. We're realizing that there's only one real way out of this, and that we may have no choice but to take that choice, that decision, and run with that instead. And so this could be saying that the other options of trying to overcompensate or just tamp down other people's emotions, or try to trick them into thinking you're working on it, but you're not. Those things need to fall aside, and you just need to pick the right way to go. And the right way to go could be that sense of overcompensating. It could be that sense of saying, I'm rejecting this because deep down inside I can fix the shadow. Maybe that's true. I don't know. We're supposed to be working on fixing the shadow. But are we? A lot to think about here. So let's end it then. Let's end it all. I think I've gone through all of the cards. Let's end it all with a reading and closing affirmation from the Dark Light Oracle. Oh, signs. Everywhere a sign. It's number 25. Messages are to be seen and heard. I know how to send messages, and I know also how to receive or see them around me. I'm attentive to animals, elements, the moon, the sky, the wind, and clouds. I'm appearing to you and sending you this message through my white winged friend, because you are living a very special moment of your life, energetically speaking. You should pay attention to any little detail now. You must trust your intuition and learn to read the signs, for there will be many, trust my word. Remember that there are no coincidences and nothing happens by chance. Everything has a meaning and you are being strongly guided. So just spread your antennas and do not miss a sign. Affirmation. Messages are sent to me. I am able to hear and understand them, and I am deeply grateful for this supreme guidance. And you know, I take a last look out the cards, and I think that maybe the message of signs is the fact that we're at a point now where there's a lot of things here that sort of signify a sense of denial. You know, the overcompensation is another way of looking at denial. The idea of inwardly just rejecting everything and deciding, you know, you're going to be a rebel about it is a form of denial. Most of these things have that sense about them. So I think this is saying really we're now at the point now where if it's really been working, you know, this work on the shadow, you will see some signs or synchronicities that will tell you that. And it's more than just, you know, the gut level versus the actual deeper instinctual intuition you might feel. It's more than trying to hide or evade yourself through various deceits. It's really realizing that you have no choice. You have to evolve in this particular perspective, that there may be a deeper reason why you are trying to evade happiness, but it's time for you really to confront it and get it over with. So until next week, when we finally wrap this up, take care, everybody. Don't forget to watch our shows for the rest of the week. Our show tomorrow night, live streaming, 7 to 9 p.m. Friday morning, we're on at 7 o'clock for my show, The Emotional Exchanges. And then Saturday is happy hour at 10 a.m. Sunday is Banshee's Material Matters at 10 a.m. And then we're live again Sunday afternoon from 2 to 4 p.m. And remember, all the times are Eastern Standard Time in the United States. Like I said, take care. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.